Make sure to like and subscribe right now. Yes, do it.
Hello, this is Ronnie from MathX, and today we're going to be solving the 2023 number 22 AMC 10A. Now, this problem is a little bit challenging because it's hard to first get a grasp of what kind of geometry you would have to do here to actually get the solution. But once you figure it out, it's just a simple method of using Pythagorean theorem to solve the problem. But anyways, without further ado, let's get started. Circles C1 and C2 each have a radius of 1, and the distance between their centers is half. Circle C3 is the largest circle internally tangent to both C1 and C2. Circle C4 is internally tangent to both C1 and C2 and externally tangent to C3. What is the radius of C4? And the answer choices here is A, 1 over 14, B, 1 over 12, C, 1 over 10, D, 3 over 28, E, 1 over 9. Okay, so the method we can do here is try and find some ways where we have some clear formulas and formulations to actually get some real values. So the idea here is that what we want to do is find the way we can do Pythagorean theorem. And my idea so far is that what we do is we take the center of C4, we map it to the middle of this half line, which we'll define a point later as maybe like O, and we'll have a right triangle formed out of here. So essentially the idea here is that we're just forming a right triangle from the center of points that we already know. So let's just write O here so it's more clearly defined. And we can write maybe D here for this triangle. So this is point DOA. Or not A, C4. So now, since we know that we marked it exactly at the midpoint of this, we know that this length here would be 1 over 4. So we'll also write that out here. And the idea here is that since we know that this circle and this line here are parallel, we can make these conclusions. And we'll also know that this would be a right triangle. So let's just draw that out. Alright, so we know that this here is a right triangle. Now, one thing that may be a little tough to notice is that we can substitute a value here for C4 as r, which would be the radius of it, and that is exactly what we're solving for. So if we just have it as one variable set up here in the Pythagorean equation that we plan to set up here, it makes things a lot simpler. So we'll just have r over here, and r over here, and when we're writing out our equations, it'll be more easily understood. So, the idea here is that this is the equation that we're kind of forming out of it. It would basically be, let's get it right to the side here, 1/4 squared plus the length from O to the top of it, which would be like 3/4, due to we knowing this length here would be 3 over 2 when we just basically do the length from using the O to the exterior here. We'll know that it'd be 3 halves, so 3 over 2, half of that, 3 over 4. So we'll know that this length here would be 3 over 4. So let's just write that out. R plus 3 over 4 squared. And since we know that D is the center point for this circle here, C1, we'll know the radius of it to its edge here would typically be 1, but since we're subtracting it by 1 radius, it'd just be 1 minus r. And since we know it's a hypotenuse, it'd be equal to 1 minus r squared. Now all we have to do is just solve for this, and we'll be able to get our answer here. So we can already just use Pythagorean theorem here to solve it. So let's just write out the finalized form. Be 1 over 16 plus r squared plus 3 over 2 r plus 9 over 16 is equal to 1 minus 2r plus r squared. And we can just cancel out terms from here to make it a little bit simpler. So let's just cancel out this r squared from both sides. Let's just write the equal symbol here so it's easier to understand. We can cancel out the 1 here and the 16. Actually, we'll just subtract the 116 and 916 from this side. And then we'll add the 2r to this side. So then basically we're ending up with 7 over 2r is equal to 6 over 16. Okay. And then when we multiply that by 2 over 7 to both sides, so we just end up with r. So r would be equal to 3 over 28 when it's simplified. And this is just the product of 2 over 7 times 6 over 16. So basically just 12 over 112. And that would be simplified down to 3 over 28. So that's the answer to our problem. It would be answer choice D. As you can see here, we have solved this problem just using some simple Pythagorean theorem and just a little bit of I'd say deductive reasoning by just having some variables set up to kind of make the problem a bit simpler. But as you can see here, we have solved this problem, meaning that we are now officially finished.